guys, they are literally laughing in our faces. I mean, honestly, just read this. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to receive Emmy Award for Media Love Fest press conferences. First, I just can't believe we're here. We're here. They are laughing in our faces, okay? This is supposed to be, the most serious pandemic of our lifetimes. Oh, you're all just supposed to fucking hide in your houses and never come out because, the coronavirus is just leaking in these fucking, lurking around these dark corners, just hanging out and, dank alleys just to pounce on you and kill grandma. But meanwhile, New York Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo will receive an International Emmy Award for using television to communicate with residents during the coronavirus pandemic, the group announced Friday. Fuck off. People around the world tuned in to find out what was going on in New York. Tough became a symbol of determination to fight back. You know who didn't receive an Emmy for their ability to be New York tough? Rudy Giuliani and his handling of the 9/11 tragedy. Let that sink in for a minute. That's how corrupt the media has become. This is preposterous. Preposterous. And the fact that the CNN gets any sort of accolades is, well, the only time that they would is if it's, one of these incestuous back alley abortions of an awards committee. Anyways, International Academy President and CEO Bruce Painzer said in a statement, the announcement comes just 2 days after Cuomo publicly erupted as a reporter during a press conference like I covered a couple days ago, asking whether or not state schools would shut down immediately caught the ire of prominent voices on Twitter. Fuck Twitter. Thousands of elderly that died in nursing homes thanks to your winner's leadership won't be able to watch this show, unfortunately, wrote Fox News senior meteorologist Janice Dean, whose elderly in-laws fell victim to the governor's decision to force infected coronavirus patients into nursing homes, housing the most vulnerable. At least 6,400 New York, repeat that, 6,400 New York coronavirus deaths stemmed from the assisted care facilities where Cuomo, Whitmer, Phil Scott, Jay Inslee, all of them shoved infected caregivers into the assisted care facilities. Yes, exactly. And 80% of the deaths in Canada, I don't know if that's still the exact percentage, but it was accurate at one point, all stem from the very, very old and infirmed in these assisted care facilities, which is just it's a nicer way of saying an old folks home. Daily Caller reporter Andrew Kerr mocked the governor for appearing on his brother's primetime program on CNN, cracking jokes and engaging in useless commentary at the height of the pandemic ravaging New York. A lot of people say that they look good on television, but the fact that they're getting an award for not doing anything and the only thing that they are doing is just openly mocking you, okay? They're not here to help you out. This is all just fucking back padding. And even when somebody calls them out, like, okay, let's just say hypothetically, right? CNN wasn't propped up by these award shows who put all of their propaganda out there. They would just end up turning to streaming program or platforms, to be completely honest, right? It's the fucking incestuous nature of the media. You just look right now, what are the biggest channels or some of the biggest channels on YouTube? Well, what the ones that actually get recommended to you, like CNN's YouTube page has 9 million subscribers, and their active engagement is less than 10% on most of their videos. Oh Christ, they'd be grateful to get 10%. They're like, more often than not getting 30 to 50,000 views per video, if that. But I didn't want to make an entire video based on those fucking show trials that Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Josh Hawley put out there. But I think all of this stuff, especially with just the fact that, CNN and the Cuomo brothers are getting a fucking award, and social media is just getting kind of a hand-wringing, and we'll just go over what Josh Hawley had to say here. Yep, Senator Josh Hawley on Tuesday pressed CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, on newly revealed whistleblower complaints alleging that Facebook employees coordinated with Twitter and Google employees to make certain content moderation decisions. Hawley said a former Facebook employee with direct knowledge of the company's content moderation practices contacted his office when an internal platform called Tasks that Facebook uses to coordinate projects, including censorship. The platform reflects censorship input and Google and Twitter as well, Hawley alleged. Facebook censorship teams communicate with their counterparts at Twitter and Google and enter those companies' suggestions for censorship into the tasks platform so Facebook can follow up with them and effectively coordinate their censorship efforts. This may or may not be true. I'm sure it is if somebody with actual knowledge went to a sitting United States senator with this information. And what did Mark Zuckerberg do with it? Well, he didn't deny the fact that the task system exists. He just wouldn't provide any of the information that was on there or wouldn't swear to it under oath. He kept saying, yeah, Senator, we do not coordinate our policies. Mark Zuckerberg added later, however, that he would expect some level of communication with the Hawley offices. Like, we know that they're doing it, okay? There's different platforms out there. People's posts depend on what they do. Might have wild success on Twitter if you are a raging left-winger. Like, you take a look, there's this one fucking reply bitch that does gangbusters on President Trump's tweets. Like, if you just take a look at any of them, she is normally the first, if not the first, she's about the second, but I've never not seen her right at the top. And that's, well, there's nothing more than just being algorithmically dishonest, and that's something, the term algorithm has really become prominent in the, well, especially with the elections here. But like I said, mainstream media is laughing at you, social media is laughing at you. Nothing ever fucking comes out of it, and they just continue to pat each other on the back. But you know what? Change is coming. And I use the term change because y'all remember probably about, 12 years ago? When President Obama was going to come in and he was bringing change, and he did nothing. He did nothing. But now he is speaking out because he has his friends at CNN who have always had his back. Do you guys remember when he was just leaving office and he had that, was it like 15-part miniseries about the greatness of the Obama administration? Ugh, it just made me sick. That one always sticks in my head. I remember seeing those commercials, and it's like, this fucking guy. Like, there was nothing to him. When he was first elected, I was 18 years old, and I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I didn't think McCain had a lick of a chance because he just didn't pass the eye test when he had the two candidates on stage there. You had this withered old shitbag who just came out to be more and more and more of a neocon and just a traitor to right-wing principles as, you know, the years went on. And then on the other side, you had, well, I'll leave the superlatives to how Joe Biden likes to describe him. But yeah, the guy who was clearly going to win, the guy who had a whole bunch more enthusiasm at his rallies, the guy who could actually, you know, fill a stadium full of people, the fundraised like a motherfucker at a grassroots level, and was the first candidate to successfully use social media to his advantage. God, doesn't that sound familiar, huh? We'll leave those comparisons to the side for the second, but we'll definitely put a pin in that last one, using social media effectively. There was nobody, Rand Paul initially, and he took, Barack Obama's campaign took the success that they seen because Rand Paul raised $6 million on MySpace for his presidential run in 2008. You know what, he might have actually, you know, exposed something because nobody was going to stop the freight train that was Obama in 2008. Let's be completely honest here. But he might have actually done something for the cause had he gotten in. But realistically, that's neither here nor there. Obama used social media super effectively, and he had the, well, mainstream media on his side, well, still does to this day. But when he popped out of his cave to promote his book that's coming out, and I don't know if I'm going to bother reading it, but it's definitely making some waves right now because I think he got like a 9-digit advance in order to do that book. So it's preposterous that he would make these claims here. Obama, the internet is the single biggest threat to our democracy. President Obama loved the internet. Now he has second thoughts. This is from Vox. None of this shit is really lining up. Vox loves Obama. Back in 2008, Barack Obama famously harnessed the internet and social media to help him win the White House. He kept the embrace once he got there. Now he worries the internet and social media have to create the single biggest threat to our democracy. And when Barack Obama says anything, media, social media, just jump to his defense and prop him up and tell him that his clothes are lovely, even though he is naked there, if you get the metaphor. Obama has been saying a version of this for 4 years since he left the White House, but his words are getting steadily more pointed, well, because he has a book to sell. He's clearly sounding an alarm, but it's not exactly clear what he thinks we should do about it. His critique comes in an interview between Obama and Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg. Oh, the guy who liked to push the narrative that Trump said the military were full of suckers and losers. Fucking lying dickhead. And before we go any further, we should put it in full context. Obama was discussing a media landscape dominated not just by Facebook, but by Fox News. Nobody's watching Fox News, and this was only 4 days ago. Fucking they probably just immediately told him, yes, Obama, they do have the best ratings still. They don't. That allows Americans to choose their own distorted reality instead of the reality that Andrew Cuomo and Chris Cuomo are doing good stuff on CNN, or award-worthy stuff, in fact, and Twitter is definitely not curating all of their stuff, and neither is Facebook. They don't have a secret undercover list of things. Of course not. Don't look at the man behind the curtain, which means, he says, we no longer have a shared set of facts. But, yes, unity, right? Just believe what we have to say, and everybody will be fine. And if not, we'll ostracize you from society. That assessment is now conventional wisdom among many critics of the TV and internet ecosystem. I don't know people like that. That assessment is now conventional wisdom among many critics of the TV and internet ecosystem. Probably not for the reasons that you might think they're recode, but let's see what they have to think. There's almost no practical constructive argument about how we should respond to that problem. Obama doesn't offer one in his interview either. Well, I heard something earlier, about a week ago. It was being discussed that, in fact, a fair and unbiased media was never really a thing. You had your right-wing outlets and you had your left-wing outlets, and people, if you were disposed to one end or the other, that's what you would read. And because, well, prior to Trump, everything was just kind of controlled opposition. Because if we just circle back to Obama's election, he ran against John McCain and Mitt Romney. Real hardline, dedicated right-leaning people, right? Oof. I couldn't think of anything less relevant of a description of those two individuals. And it was just more or less controlled opposition, at least in my lifetime, and probably since, oh my gosh, my parents and probably my grandparents' time. Like, when was the last time prior to 2016 when there was actually a clear distinction between two presidential candidates? I really can't think of one. They were all just shades of one another. So yeah, to circle back around to that, there was two countervailing positions of the two major newspapers. Well, even just in New York, the New York Post used to be a very left-wing outlet. I know, weird. And the New York Times used to be, you guessed it, a very right-leaning outlet. I won't say far right because I don't even know what that means, really. And people used to read those newspapers based on their opinions and agree with them as such. And then you have idiots out there hearkening back to, oh, I wish the media was more like, the days of Walter Cronkite. Oh, the Walter Cronkite who swayed the public opinion about the Vietnam War and caused a hastily withdrawal from South Vietnam, and then ended up allowing them to be run over by communists. That was a legitimate hasty withdrawal, by the way, not what the same neocons are trying to advocate for, staying in the Middle East right now in Iraq and Afghanistan. Fucking stupid. So no, this romanticization of news media being, impartial, just fact tellers, isn't in fact true. This is, there's been a divide for a very long time, but now when you have one side just blatantly disregarding the facts, like what they're doing right now with Giuliani and Sidney Powell's, lawsuits there for the Trump campaign, just blatantly disregarding, here's our evidence. They don't have evidence. What? I just seen that you have, nope, there's nothing there. No evidence of widespread voter fraud. We have like 300 affidavits. No evidence. You get what I'm saying, right? Or, yeah, we got Hunter Biden's laptop. It shows a bunch of creepy shit. There's no laptop there. Sorry, we got to X that out right now and nobody's allowed to talk about it. But there's some really funky shit over there. We should take it. Nope. Yep. So Obama's probably right, because we'll take a look here. Now you have Now, let me be clear. Now you have a situation in which large swaths of the country genuinely believe that the Democratic Party is a front for a pedophile ring. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. I was talking to a volunteer who was going door to door in Philadelphia in a low-income African-American communities, and he was getting questions about their QAnon conspiracy theories. You know what proportion of people actually talk about QAnon out there? I'm legitimately curious because I think it's probably like a percentage of a percentage point. It's not even relevant whatsoever. The old teleprompter in chief continues, I don't hold the tech companies entirely responsible because this predates social media. That's, fairly true. I was already there, but social media has turbocharged it. I know most of these folks. I've talked to them about it. The degree to which these companies are insisting that they are more like a phone company than they are like The Atlantic, I don't think that is tenable. They are making editorial choices, whether they buried them in algorithms or not. The First Amendment doesn't require private companies to provide any platform for any view that is out there. At the end of the day, we're going to have to find a combination of government regulation. That is so fucking annoying. And corporate practices that address this. Because it's going to get worse. It can perpetuate crazy lies and conspiracy theories just with texts. Imagine what it can do when you can make it look like you or me are saying anything on video. We're pretty close to that now. So yeah, he actually says something that's fairly true. You should be treating them like phone companies because they are more like phone companies than they are like the Atlantic because, there are algorithms out there. So what he's saying is basically true. But, Lindsey Graham has, at least in those same internet hearings that Josh Hawley was, kind of showboating in front of Mark Zuckerberg about, he said that, Section 230 is not viable for the times and needs to be revisited. And that's something I've trumpeted quite a bit over the years. But yeah, for Obama to turn his back on a very, very pro-him and his ideas platforms like what social media is doing right now, perhaps he sees the turning tide of the alternative networks out there, and eventually it's just going to be, I can really see just places like Parler becoming the official right-wing Twitter-esque platform, and then Twitter just being the, a left-wing side of things. I would just return back to that old times, the New York Post and the New York Times. Would it be such a bad thing? I don't know. I keep hearing people saying, I don't want to be stuck in an echo chamber. Well, nothing's really stopping you from peering over to what the other side's doing. I just don't like to have tweets labeled with, this is fake information. Learned how it's not fake information based from our fake information experts. Stop telling me what I should believe and just allow me to go wherever the fuck I want. That's more important than anything, so. There's more instances of the fucking media just patting themselves on the back, and Barack Obama may be tentatively trying to tell the people out there that there might be something on the horizon. Let me be clear. I still love social media. Rules for me, or rules for thee and not for me, I suppose. But that'll do it for that one, guys. Thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.